Good Monday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Booth, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Booth Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get over to business here. Let's wake up the football gods. How you doing on this Monday? Man, it has been crazy. We got major news on the combine, for this offseason, something we've been looking forward to. And I don't know about you, but I am feeling great here on the 21st. The 21st. Did I miss Dustin Adams yesterday? Dustin Adams. I'm sorry. My apologies. I don't remember if I told you, did your birthday or not yesterday. But Dustin Adams, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I'm going to get better with that. Definitely shout out to you. We're trying some new things, and, it takes time to get used to implement them. That's got to become that morning habit that when I drink my coffee, I grab the list to double check on the birthdays. So let's get right to it. The NFL offseason. We're knee deep in it, technically. But the funny thing is the offseason, there's actually more talk about football than during the season. During the season, you know who's going to be on the team and everything else. There's discussion of, is he Dak Prescott, great? Is he overrated and all that? We always have those discussions. But now it's about looking into the future. It's about trying to figure out who's going to be here, what coaches are going to be fired, what coaches are on the hot seat, what other former players think about the team and everything else. And, of course, there's the combine where it is literally glorified workouts. In the past, where we literally have, 4 days of seeing guys running the 40-yard dash, especially Rich Eisen. We always like to see Rich Eisen running in his suit and his dress shoes and all that. We love the combine because that just gives us a little taste. It just kind of wets your whistle just a little bit. And thinking about football, it does. And, we miss it. So the combine is next week. Literally, last Sunday was the Super Bowl. We have the combine next week. But wait, pump your brakes a little bit. Unfortunately, this is kind of like in 2020, the blue and white scrimmage. We all were ready to see the Cowboys because there wasn't like preseason games. We were ready to see the blue and white scrimmage because we could see all the good stuff that Mike McCarthy was going to be serving up to us. Oh, we thought we were going to see some good stuff, and we didn't see shit. Didn't see shit. There were no wide angles. There were no numbers on the players. They just literally went out there, and it was kind of like, okay, here's a close-up of here. We're not showing you anything. And actually, the Cowboys team didn't show us anything in 2020 either. And here's where the NFL Combine has changed for this year. They're still looking at the COVID issue, having players coming from across the country and maybe even from the world to work out. So it has changed, and I want to read to you exactly what is going on to protect the health and safety of the players as well as the teams. And they are saying, no bullshit here. Any violations, you're gone. The NFL is taking steps to protect the health and safety of its prospects ahead of the scouting combine, one of which is establishing a bubble-like environment to help mitigate the COVID-19 concerns. Tom Passero of the NFL Network reported the league informed prospects about the Indianapolis bubble plan and said they can invite one medical support person as well. Players who violate the term policy at any time will be disqualified from further participation and sent home. These changes came after last year's combine was canceled. Remember, we didn't have one about COVID-19. CBS noted prospects will be in Indianapolis for 4 days. This is it. Now, this is the big change. Day one will be medical exams, which we won't see. There's nothing for us to see there. There'll be plenty of commentary and stuff out there. They'll be talking about, oh, well, this guy and that guy, but you won't actually see anything. The second day is going to be media interviews. So that's where we'll finally start, kind of getting into meeting the future prospects. The third day is for measurements, and that will be, all of the 220-pound lift, the bench press. You'll see him doing the jumping. You'll see him doing the shuttle run and everything else. They will be doing that all on the third day. So we're talking about linemen, we're talking about, edge rushers, we're talking about linebackers, quarterbacks, tight ends, wide receivers, offensive linemen. Everybody is getting their workout in one day. One day. That's it. We got one day to watch all of the process. It's going to be a busy day. It's going to be a busy day. And I'm going to get my sleep. I'm going to have my big pot of coffee, and we'll live stream the whole time. We will live stream. And then on the fourth day, everybody's going. Everybody goes back to where they started. And so this will probably mean that a lot of your prospects will end up having a lot of pro days, individual workouts for teams and things, so that way they can really know. But I guess the way you look at this is from last year where there wasn't a combine, that this is a definite improvement in getting closer to getting back to normal. The one notable change from past years is all the measurements, bench press and on-the-field workouts will happen in a single day instead of separate days in an effort to condense the schedule and number of days players are in the bubble. So the presence of the combine in this year as opposed to last will allow players to work their way up the draft boards with impressive showings. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about workout warriors. That a lot of times guys will wow you at the combine. And see, here's what I personally like to think of. Because some of the things that you do in the combine, they're tools. But the shuttle run, I don't know if the shuttle run is really indicative. The 40, it's really more of that first 10 yards, that burst. The jumping has relevance, I guess, for a cornerback and wide receiver and stuff, but not so much for a defensive lineman. The strength, of course, is important. But what happens to me is it's like the SATs. We used to have courses, the pre-SAT exam, where we take the test ahead of time. We'd have the studies to study how to take the test. And you know that if you don't know the answer, guess C, because C becomes right more often than not. And you might get, the worst case is you leave it blank, you get nothing. You guess C, you have usually like about a 35% chance of being right because you guess C, and that gives you more credit than a zero would. So players train for the combine. I want to make sure my 40 is good. I learn how to get in that stance just right. And, the best way to, whether it's closed fists or like I'm holding a coin in my fingers, to make sure I can maximize it, make sure I have the right lean on there. Because a lot of these things don't necessarily transfer into being a great player. We've seen guys that are super fast. You say, oh, my God, how are we going to stop that guy? He's so fast. But then you have a guy who's not real fast or real big that becomes the Hall of Famers. You follow me? It's a tool, but if your whole basis of drafting somebody is by the combine, it's a sucker's bet. So that is another tool. You'll get an idea. The teams will be able to talk to the players and say, this is a guy I want to bring to my facilities and do a player interview with and, see what makes them tick and stuff and, and get that interest. It's just a tool. And at least it's something we get to talk about. The crazy thing is wow, next week is already March. Next week is already March. And actually, I need to double check. Wait a minute. Tagging day is tomorrow, I believe. Let me double check it because I think that's tomorrow. Let's see. Let me double check because I'm losing track. I think it's tomorrow. March 1st is tagging. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is tag day. So officially, the NFL starts doing transactions tomorrow. Wow. So much for the NFL offseason because That literally starts tomorrow and goes until March 8th. March 1st through the 7th was the schedule for the scouting combine, but they've condensed it now to 4 days, so that's actually changed. And then, of course, the 14th of next month, a little over 2.5 weeks, teams will be able to start 3 weeks, contacting players and start negotiating contracts. It ain't much time, guys. It ain't much time. But I want to finish this morning off before I head up to my workshop, because I got lots of these cutting boards I got to do for you guys. I want to listen to Emmitt Smith. You know, all of our Hall of Fame players and things have chimed in on where they look at the Cowboys and expectations of it and how they feel about what's going on. And let's listen to Emmitt.
When I look at our Cowboys, I'm looking for, who are we going to be? Are we going to stay the same? Or are we going to just take all of this talent and waste it over 3 or 4 or 5 year time frame, assuming and expecting to do something great, doing the same things over and over and over again? It's frustrating as hell, he went on to say. You see great talent being wasted. You see time passing.
Yep.
That's Emmitt Smith talking there. Marcus, what do you think he's saying? What when he says doing the same thing over and over again, great talent being wasted, time passing, what's Emmitt trying to say, Swagoo?
See, I'm talking to Foxy on this one, okay? Because none of you other guys can relate. All right, G, you in the Hall of Fame. Jeff Saturday is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Graz is going to be in some Writers Guild Hall of Fame. Me and Foxy, we were just solid, good football players. Yeah, but Foxy, see, this is what happened, Foxy. This is what happens, all right? How many times have you heard me say this, Dominique Foxworth? How many times have you heard me say the same thing Emmitt Smith just said about the Cowboys?
All the time.
But when I say it, I'm a fan, and I ain't doing that. Listen, man, everybody knows it. Nobody is going to say anything different about the Dallas Cowboys. No one. It's been talent being wasted. When I was there, I felt like we wasted talent. We had an opportunity. We were a good team, made the playoffs, never could go deep and get it done. It's been being wasted, okay? Yeah. Eight years with Jason Garrett. You got Mike McCarthy. Listen, let me put this in context so I can pass the mic, all right? Because I'm going to settle down. It's the off season, and I'm looking forward to watching my daughter play volleyball. I'm looking forward to my son play basketball. I want to put this in perspective for everybody, okay? We just came off a conversation where Joe Burrow got sacked 70 times, and his team just played in the Super Bowl. And the Cowboys don't know if they want their head coach.
Yeah. I mean, it is, the look on the face says it all from Swagoo. I do like it. I mean, look, yes, you've been saying it a long time, and a lot of people have been saying it. When it comes from Emmitt, it really does, based upon not only his stature, but you know the relationship that he must have with ownership there, and Jerry and everything.
It felt like he was talking about Mike McCarthy to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure how else he could mean it.
Yeah, when he's saying talent being wasted, he's talking about the coach wasting the talent. And I think that Emmitt Smith is onto something, but the problem is it's not going to change anything, because it's not the first time that a Cowboy great has said this. Like, I feel like I've heard Michael Irvin say similar things. I've heard Troy Aikman say similar things. You even heard Jerry Jones allude to the fact that he wasn't happy with it. But nothing's changed. So we'll see. This team, I think a lot like the Bengals, this team knows what they have to address in offseason, which isn't a terrible place to be.
It's ironic, because Emmitt Smith sounds like he thinks the Cowboys need a new coach. Jerry Jones sounds like he thinks the Cowboys need a new coach. He's the one who could do it. Quick thought, Jeff, go.
I fully listen. The scary part about the Cowboys, their team might not be as good next year. Right. I'm just telling you, they got offensive line issues. They got receiver issues. I mean, you know, everybody thinks they're just going to go in status quo. It doesn't work that way in the NFL. They should be nervous.
Randy Gregory's a free agent. DeMarcus Lawrence probably needs something done with his contract to be back. They have work to do. This might have been their best shot. I understand the frustration.
Yeah, and Amari Cooper is a part of that, right,
absolutely.
as well. We see a lot of these guys that may wind up elsewhere. Okay. Thank you.
You know, it's funny how every year it's like we've always lost our best shot. We've lost our best shot that's bullshit. That's bullshit. In this age of football where teams go from worst to first and all, it's bullshit. I'm going to say that much. But they do have to address some things. Now, I'm going to stop being Joe negative. I'm going to start trying to look at the flip side of this, because, yeah, we ended up not doing what we wanted to in the playoffs. Yes, we've got a lot of changes that are going to happen. We all know this. This is just the way it is in football. But the reality is we doubled the amount of wins from the year before, from an abysmal year. It was abysmal. And it takes time to change what you're doing in culture and all of that stuff. And so I'm going to go ahead and say, for us, when you looked at the cupboard going into last season, with where we were on the defense, how much improved that defense ended up being. We lost some players last year. We lost a bunch of free agents. We ended up getting rid of some players. But we turned over the roster, and we did better. Take a look at the Bengals defense. They had 7 new starters last year and were in the Super Bowl. This day and age is not the typical way that you end up building the team. It's not. It's just not. It's basically you go out and you hire a bunch of mercenaries. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and roll up out of here. I'm going to be up in the workshop today. And tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, we'll be live streaming. Thank God Michael Anthony Fitness Gig Economy will be back because I've missed my sidekick. And we're going to keep on rolling to you guys. So with that being said,
our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Sports Report.